and welcome to another video. So recently I've been mostly crocheting things with what I call my plushy yarn, my thicker, bulkier yarns. But occasionally when I am working on a more detailed project, I like to crochet with acrylic yarn. So that means that when I go to a Michael's store or when I go to Joann's or wherever I'm shopping for yarn, I'm mostly looking for specific colors of acrylic yarn. So I'm color matching. I'm not really paying attention to the brands. I'm not really paying attention to the weights. I mean, obviously I make sure that I'm not getting like a size 6 weight when I'm working on a project that mostly is 3 or 4. So because of all of this, it basically means that I just never really pay attention to the brands of acrylic yarn that I use. I have no idea what most of this yarn is. If I've already removed the label, I just don't know. Because I get it because it's the color. I don't get it for the brand or the type of acrylic yarn or any of that stuff. So because recently my reviewing, comparing, whatever you want to call it, plushy yarn video has become very, very popular, I wanted to do an acrylic yarn variant. But instead of just looking at any acrylic yarn, I wanted to specifically look at Michael's acrylic yarn. So they have their store brand, Loops and Threads, and they have it everywhere. Like in their yarn aisle, it's almost entirely loops and threads these days. It's just loops and threads, loops and threads, loops and threads. And I know that a lot of these are the store brand version of specific brands of yarn. But because I'm not really familiar with brands of acrylic yarn, I have no idea what these are knockoffs of, basically. I have no idea what the quality is like. I just don't know because I just never pay attention to what the label says other than, maybe the color and the weight. I just rip it off and use it because it's the specific color that I need. So today we are going to be looking at different acrylic loops and thread yarn from Michael's. My only criteria, I guess you would say, was that I wanted only ones that were weights 3 and 4, nothing bigger, nothing smaller. I was also looking for mostly just ones that are like a single color, not like mixed colors or anything like that. And just ones that were all labeled as acrylic. I did see a few that were in that weight class that were polyester. I think I saw one, and I was very intrigued by it, let's say that. But I just wanted to stick with the acrylic and kind of look at the differences. Now, I did want to do some research and kind of figure out, I don't know, what these were knockoffs of. But I couldn't really find a lot of information for it. Like, I searched for their specific types, and I just didn't see much. Like, I was like, oh, what's this? Now, I did see, of course, substitutions for all of them, but I don't know if that's quite the same. I do know that one of them is a knockoff of Caron's Simply Soft, and I just know that because number one, they're next to each other at the store. It's one of the few that they still have the original brand in the store. I think a lot of people still buy the Caron Simply Soft. I think that's why. And number two, I have used both Caron Simply Soft and the knockoff variety at some point in time. So, the way this video is going to work is I'm going to talk about each yarn individually, and then I am at the end going to rank them all by my personal preference. As always, this is my opinion, my personal thoughts. Everybody, of course, can have different opinions. That's the way opinions work. So, yeah, let's get into this. Okay, so starting out, because I talked about it in the intro, I figured I would start out with this one. We have Loops and Threads, soft and shiny. So this, I do believe, is their version of Caron's Simply Soft, which has a similar shiny look to it, I guess. Now, to be fair and to give good consideration to all of these yarns, I did make a little, I don't know, octopus guy, I don't know how you say it. Same pattern for every single one of these, just so I could give it a fair consideration of how it crochets. I also used a size 3mm crochet hook for every single one of these, just so that, again, I could give it equal consideration. So this is not my favorite yarn. I don't know. I don't know if anybody has used Care Simply Soft before, but it can kind of be a little bit of a pain to work with. It is soft, not as soft as what you would expect, but it splits a lot, I guess. So this is very similar to that. The best thing I think it has going for it is that it's super, super shiny. I don't know if you can really tell from there. I mean, it's a very pretty color too, of course. I love this like royal purple color. If anybody is curious, by the way, this color is so creatively called purple. So if you want to get this color, it is called purple. This one is a medium size for weights. So as you can see, it is, as you would expect, medium. I don't know if you can tell. Let me try to put my hand behind it. Maybe it's just kind of juggling things. Maybe you can see, but it's fraying a lot around the sides. Like there's a lot of like little strands going every which way. As I talked about a little bit with the Care Simply Soft, this splits, I guess is the best way to say it. It splits very easily. So when you are crocheting something like this, your hook just goes through your stitches rather than going under your stitch. It can be super annoying. Also, just with like the yarn, has fuzz going every which way, all the little strands, which I know some people want. So personal preference, I guess. The little octopus guy that it made is of medium sized. He's not as big as we made it with plushy yarn, but he's not terribly small either. I will show you at the end all of them lined up so you can kind of see the size comparisons. But yeah, not the easiest to work with, but it is very shiny. It's not terrible. There are definitely worse yarns out there. And it's a really pretty color. And these do come in a lot of colors. So that is definitely a big benefit. Because I know that the Care Simply Soft themselves, they come in a lot of colors. So this one also comes in a lot of colors. Yeah, so, and you do get 311 yards, which is nice because I know some of the other ones I was looking at had much smaller skeins. So that's definitely a nice one. But overall, I would definitely say it's not my favorite, but it's not terrible. It does still crochet nice enough to make something like this. It wasn't terrible, but it was definitely harder to work with. So, Loops and Threads Soft and Shiny, which also, by the way, I hate these names. They tell you nothing. Next, we have Loops and Threads Soft Classic. So I think it's just basically exactly what their name says. It's just the classic yarn. This one is, let's try to see if I can find the colors somewhere. Violet Neon, or Neon Violet, I guess. Again, it's size 4, just like the last one was. I liked this one. I liked it a lot. It's very easy to work with. Now, I pull out some here. Don't know if you can tell the weight of that. It's similar-ish to the last one. It just doesn't have the shine to it as the Soft and Shiny does. I would actually argue, though, that this one is softer than the Soft and Shiny. It's a different type of soft, if that makes sense. It's not that kind of silky soft. But yeah, I really, really like this yarn. It was very easy to work with. Like, I think when I was crocheting with it, I was thinking, wow, this kind of crochets like butter. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but I was like, ah, it's so smooth, like butter. Very easy. I think the only time it started to split was when I was doing the half double crochets, which for me sometimes it likes to split during that step. Which, by the way, this is our little octo guy for this one. As you can see, well, maybe you can see, I don't know. He's a little bit bigger than the soft and shiny. So there is definitely a weight difference between the two, even though they are both size 4. So just keep that in mind. Again, this one was also super, super easy to work with. It doesn't fray as much either. Like I'm looking at the bottom and they don't have all the little strands that the other one has. So, that is very nice. But again, very, very easy to work with. Now, it is kind of like just your standard yarn, I would say. Like there's nothing special about it. It's just standard. I don't know if that works as a description. But it also does, just like with the soft and shiny, it comes in a million different colors. I think this one comes in even more. Like, I think because it's the classic, Michaels had like rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of this yarn in so many different colors. I picked this color because I thought it was very, very pretty, which, like I said, is the neon violet. But yeah, this one is very nice. I liked it. It's very easy to work with. I feel like when I got it, I was thinking that it was the same as the orange yarn that I used in like one of my very first videos to make a pumpkin. But I don't think it is, because I remember that one splitting everywhere, but this one did not. So it must be slightly different. Next, we have their Impeccable line. So again, this is one that I have no idea what the equivalent, well, I mean, equivalent's not the right word, but what this was a dupe of, basically. Anyway, this was another one that I really, really liked. I don't know if you can tell that there's a trend, because this one also looks very similar to, I keep trying to figure out how to do this with holding it. This one looks very, very similar to the purple one, or not the purple, the Soft Classic, which was neon violet, I suppose, not purple. But anyway, very similar appearance. It works up very similarly also to the Soft Classic. You can see it made this very cute little octoguy, which I will show you at the end, the size comparisons between them all. This one is also classified as medium weight, size 4. So again, very similar to what the other ones have been so far. In case you love this color, it is sky blue. So there you go, sky blue. I really, really liked this. I'm not sure if I liked it more than the Soft Classic or not, but they both worked up so nicely. I'm looking here too, and there's not a lot of little threads. Like, I think there's more than what the Soft Classic had, but less than the soft and shiny. I know that's a weird little test, but like sometimes you don't want it to like, and fray is not the right word. I realize that, but I don't know what the right word is. When you have all the little like little teeny tiny micro hairs coming off of it. But yeah, really easy to work with. I think it is a little bit thinner than the Soft Classic. I think Soft Classic is definitely the thickest one that I have here today. But it worked up just as easily. I will definitely be looking for this in the future to use it for projects, especially projects that might not have specific color needs. Although I will say, just like with the others, there were a lot of colors available. It's actually so interesting because, like I said, I usually buy plushie yarns. And I love Sweet Snuggles. Like, it is probably one of my favorite plushie yarns, right? It's great. It works beautifully for all of my projects. But it's never available in colors that I want. I go into Michaels and I always go there first. Even when I was buying these, I went straight to the Sweet Snuggles aisle. And there were barely any colors left. And I think it's just because so many people use it so heavily. And sorry, this is shaking. The cat is messing around with everything. I think she's done. Um, anyway, I think they're just so popular that people just buy them like crazy, so there's never any colors available. But there are a plenty of colors available with all of these acrylic yarns, so that's great. So yeah, anyway, this is Loops and Threads Impeccable. Lovely, great, love it. It's great. So then we have our first of our smaller weight yarns. So this one, find the back of it, is called Delicate Decay. It's actually an acrylic blend, so it's only 70% acrylic, which is a little bit different than the rest of them so far. They've all been mostly acrylic. I didn't really pay as much attention to soft and shiny. That might have been a blend too. Either way, anyway, this one is only weight 3. It's lightweight. So, keep that in mind because lightweight yarns, as I found with this particular comparison, are so much harder to work with sometimes. So this one, I don't know why necessarily it's called Delicate Decay. I don't know what gives it that classification. Again, I have no idea if it's a knockoff of something. This particular one is in color lilac. Very pretty color, obviously. I mean, you can tell I really like purples and blues. Yeah, I should have bought like, like a rainbow of colors or something. No, I got all purples and blues because I love them so much. Anyway, this is our little octo guy thing that I made with him. With this one, now you can see it is much, much smaller. And I had to actually size down my safety eyes because it was just too small for the big safety eyes I was using with the others. So yeah, so this guy is quite tiny. And again, I mean, it is lightweight yarn. It says it right on the label. So as long as you read your label, you're good. I was not terribly fond of this. I mean, it's probably just because it's a lightweight yarn. I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But it splits so easily. Oh my gosh. I was just crocheting along and then my hook was going through the yarn. Then my hook was going through it again and then it was going through it again. It was just a pain in the butt. So yeah, and I did, like I said, I used the 3mm yarn for all of these, and this does suggest 4mm, and usually the suggestion is that you should drop down two crochet hook sizes than what is on the packaging. So maybe that was why I cannot talk today. Maybe that's why it wasn't working as well as what I wanted. But yeah, either way, please do not use a 4mm hook with this. Oh, terrible. Trying to get my 3mm hook through the tiny stitches wasn't working out very well. So this one, in terms of fraying or whatever, again, whatever word we're looking for, it does do a little bit more than some of the others, but it's not terrible. Let me pull out a strand here and show you guys, maybe. Yeah. This is what it looks like in terms of size and in terms of any fraying little strands off of it. It's not great. Like I can just look through here and see on my ring light that it does have quite a few little strands coming off of it. So that's not amazing, but anyway, yeah. I don't know if it's due to the size or if it's due to the yarn, but it was difficult to work with. So definitely not my favorite. It is soft. I will give it that. Kind of has like a silky-ish feeling to it. It has a very different feeling than the Soft Classic and the Soft and Shiny. Which also, this has a little bit of a shine to it too. So it's almost kind of like a smaller weight version of the Soft and Shiny. Also in terms of color availability, I do not think there were many colors available in this. Like, there's a few rows, but not as many as some of these other ones had. So again, just something to keep in mind when making your yarn selection. And finally, we have Snuggly Wuggly, which is a name. I would say, and actually, fascinatingly enough, that out of all of these yarns, this is the least soft. So the Snuggly Wuggly name is a lie. It's totally a lie. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's not soft, but it just has almost a rough feeling to it. This one, like the lilac one, is also a size 3 lightweight. So again, it's pretty small. This one, however, is 100% acrylic, so it's not a blend like the other one was. As you can tell, this one, I'm gonna try to get it situated here. This one is pretty thin, but it also frays everywhere. Oh man. Um, and I just made that a mess. Oh well, it's fine. It's fine. So this is my little optic guy for this one. As you can see, it is super, super tiny. I think this one might be smaller than the purple. I'm not sure. I have to look at them next to each other to see. But yeah, he's pretty small. And he's not really soft, which again, snuggly wuggly doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. I don't know. Maybe I got a bad skein or something. Because you would think snuggly wuggly would be snuggly. But snuggly wuggly is not snuggly. Anyway, as I talked about, there is a lot of little like tendrils coming off of this one. It was not easy to work with, just like the lilac one wasn't. It was a pain. I think I did this one earlier. I crocheted this little guy earlier. And the whole time I was just like, I hate this yarn. I hate this yarn. I hate this yarn. Because my crochet hook just would go right through the yarn every time. It didn't matter. I just kept splitting it and splitting it. And then when it came to the double crochets, getting it through the loop without splitting it was a pain. So anyway, definitely not my favorite yarn. But again, it is a lighter weight, so it is very possible. I do want to give it the benefit of a doubt and just be like, maybe I was using too big of a crochet hook for it. If I tried a 2mm crochet hook, which is 2 sizes down from the suggested hook, maybe that would be better. But I wanted to make sure I used the same hook for all of these just to kind of get a size comparison. I feel like there were about the same amount of colors available as the Delicate Decay for this one. For whatever reason, there just weren't as many colors available in these two. I don't know, maybe it's because a lot of people don't use the lighter weight yarns. This one also, like, it has a weird look to it. I'm just looking at it. It kind of sparkles, but not quite. I don't know. It's whatever this is made out of. I don't know. I'm just not as much of a fan of it. It just doesn't feel soft like I want, which is sad. Very, very sad. As promised, now that I've kind of gone over each of the individual yarns and what they feel like, how I felt about them, I do want to do a ranking, but I also kind of want to show you size comparisons. So, because I mean, it's kind of hard to remember from one thing to a next, and I do realize that. I'm going to move these to the side so that you guys can see. Little octa guys here. So the biggest one is definitely the Soft Classic. So this is size 4. He's definitely the biggest one. But the Loops and Threads Impeccable is really not that much smaller. It's very minuscule. I can barely tell a difference. He's just a little bit tinier. So far, in terms of size, this one is your biggest, followed by this one. So Soft Classic, Impeccable. And then we have our Loops and Threads Soft Shiny. Okay, this is not working. That's we need to get them. Okay, Soft Shiny. This one's only a little bit smaller than the Impeccable. Just a little bit, so you can see that he's just a bit tinier. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see. Yeah, there we go. Of course, then the cat comes up and blocks it. Isn't that typical? Okay, well, Just wait a moment. Maybe she'll move. Nope, she's going to lay down right in front. Maybe if I pull, yeah, you can kind of still see there. Okay, so we have our soft and shiny. So we're going to move this one off to the side. And also I was like, I wondered if this one was blended, but it's not. It's 100% acrylic. Okay. So this is our order of size so far. And then next we have the Delicate Decay. It's very similar in size. Like you look at it, you can tell that they're very similar. But the Delicate Decay is just slightly bigger, followed by the not so snuggly Wuggly. So yes, that is our size order. So if you're wondering how big, how thick the yarn is for any of this, this should give you a little bit better of an idea of what your project might look like if you were to use one of these yarns. It's not terribly surprising because all three of these are weight 4 and these two are weight 3. However, of course, the fact that this is slightly different in size and this is quite a bit different in size does tell you something. So there is that. So that is my order for size, or not my order, it's just how it is. Now, in terms of my ranking overall, I mean, I think it's pretty clear, honestly, because I talked fairly bluntly about how I felt about these yarns. But it's a close tie for my number one between these two. I would probably say Impeccable is my favorite. When I was using it at the time, I was thinking that I did like it just a little bit more than the Soft Classic. So, yes, so my favorite overall is the Loops and Threads Impeccable, followed by the Soft Classic. And then, being attacked, it's hard because size-wise, I would choose soft and shiny over these two. However, if I'm not considering the size, gosh darn it, she's Maya, let go, let go. Oh my gosh. My crocheting is so hard with this thing around. Okay, so I mean, overall, I would probably still choose this one. You can tell I just like the, size 4 medium yarn. Yeah, tells you pretty obviously. So that's my number 3. And then probably this one, the Delicate Decay. It wasn't terrible to use. It did split. But again, I don't know if that's size related or if that's just the yarn itself. It's hard to say. This was also, I think, the only acrylic blend that's here. Everything else is pure acrylic. Pure acrylic, like 100% acrylic, I guess is a better way of saying that. Finally, the last one is going to be this one, just because I think it feels weird. This at least feels really soft. Like, it wasn't easy to work with, but it feels really soft. And this too, like, well, it's not terribly soft. It's, not bad. At least, and it has that pretty shine to it. But yeah, so these ones, and then finally, this is going to be my last ranked. I'm just not a fan of the feeling of it. Like, I don't know. It's not soft. It's just not as soft as the others, if that makes sense. So the Snuggly Wuggly is just not Snuggly Wuggly enough for me, so it's at the very end. So yeah, that's my ranking. Impeccable, followed by the Soft Classic, followed by the Soft and Shiny, followed by the Delicate Decay, followed by Snuggly Wuggly. Yeah, I don't think there's any too big of surprises there because I was pretty honest in my initial reviews of them. Okay, so that was my acrylic yarn review, specifically Loops and Threads acrylic yarn review, I should say. I know obviously there are a ton of yarns out there. There's a ton of acrylic yarns, there's a ton of different types of materials of yarn, cotton, polyester. Regardless, there's a ton of yarn that is not represented here that I have yet to review. So if you would like to see me review some of those yarns, some other types of yarns, please leave a comment below and let me know that you'd be interested in that content, and I would be happy to prioritize it. So yeah, if you liked this video, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.